The Spurs have been here before, folks. And in their game 7 against the Dallas Mavericks, it just looked like another day at the office for the Spurs. It just looked like another regular season game. It honestly, look, it's game 7, so you have to give it respect. But the Spurs didn't play like it was game 7. They played like this was the middle of the season and that they were supposed to beat the Dallas Mavericks. And that's what they did. Now going on to the Portland Trail Blazers with their game-winning, buzzer-beating, sending Houston home. And Houston, I'm gonna tell you like this. You know, Dwight Howard, you can see that the guy is trying to win, but you know, I don't know what to say. All that fuss about him leaving Los Angeles and then he goes to Houston and then he's out in the first round. Whoop-de-doo. Whoop-de-doo. I know y'all Houston fans ain't gonna like it, but whoop-de-doo. Big surprise. I'm not shocked. That's basically what I'm trying to say. That Lillard put you guys out with that game-winning shot. I mean, you can't leave that guy open. But this matchup, the Spurs versus the Trailblazers, is basically the matchup of the young and upcomers against the old, wily veterans. Even though the Spurs have young pieces, and I'll talk about them a little later in this video, even though they have young pieces, their core is basically with Duncan and Ginobili and Parker. And Parker's really not even that old, even though I group him in with being old, you know, just because he just rolls with them. But, you know, there's going to come a time, a point where Tim Duncan's going to have to retire, and that Ginobili is just not going to be able to shoot those threes up like he has. And the Spurs, you know, have to feel like this is definitely one of their last runs at a legitimate title. And they should treat it like that. And in game 7 against the Mavericks, that's what it looked like. It looked like they were saying, like, hey, you know, the Heat were impressive. Even though the Mavericks took us to 7 games, we're still one of the top threats in the league that's left in the playoffs. And we need to be taken seriously. And I don't think anybody takes them, you know, as a joke right now. Speaking of not taking anybody as a joke, you guys have to look at the Portland Trailblazers and say, man, Damian Lillard and LaMarcus Aldridge, man, I mean, just the cream of the crop, man. I talk about Stephen Curry, you know, and guys like that, and John Wall and Beal. I talk about those guys a lot, about being just, you know, just great players that's on the rise. These guys look like they look like, I can't even, like, they just look like the new age of what the Western Conference is probably going to be. You know what I'm saying? You can't say that they're Stockton and Malone because they're not built the same way. You can't say that they're Westbrook and Durant because they're not built the same way. You know what I'm saying? You can't compare them to, you know, other tag teams and say that this is what they're like. But they're just the new breed of what, you know, basketball is at this point. You know what I'm saying? Like they just redefine their positions, and that's why they're so fun to watch. Now, the keys to the series for the Spurs is that they just have to, you know, wear Portland down in the half court. Just do what they do in the half court. The Spurs ball movement, all right, with their pure point guard and Tony Parker, their ball movement is the reason why they are such an elite team, because they can pass the ball and they can shoot the ball. They don't miss open shots, and I don't expect for them to really miss too many open shots against the Portland Trailblazers like Houston did. Houston, you know, with James Harden just throwing up threes and just hoping that they go in. And then you look at Portland. Portland just has to, you know, this series is just going to be about tempo. When you think about the keys to this series for both teams, just think about tempo. All right, just think about whichever team controls the tempo, because both of these teams are tempo-based teams. All right, just rhythm-based teams. Whichever team controls the tempo the best, all right, and is able to finish on a fast break when they get opportunities on a fast break, that's going to be the team advancing to the Western Conference Finals. Now, I want to pick Portland in this series so badly. You just have no idea. I want to pick these guys so badly. But just like with the Toronto Raptors, all right, and when they were going against the Brooklyn Nets, all right, I don't think that Portland is ready to take down San Antonio in the 7-game series. I think that they'll be able to take them to the limit to 7 games. I think that that's a real possibility. I think that, to be real with you, and this is not me taking a crap on Dallas. I think that, you know, Portland is actually a better team than Dallas, obviously because they went to the second round. But you know, San Antonio is going to be in for a very, very tough series, and they're going to have a few matchup problems with Lillard. You know what I'm saying? But Tony Parker is fast enough to keep up with Lillard. But I don't think that LaMarcus Aldridge is going to have the same type of series that he had against Houston, against the Spurs, just because of Tiago Splitter down low, and then Duncan, and then Dial. I mean, I think that the Spurs can rotate guys on him and try to shut him down a little bit, try to quiet him down a little bit. Expect for them to try to do that in this series. So it just looks like there's just a little bit of a matchup problem when it comes to the Spurs and the Trailblazers, for the Trailblazers' advantage. So what I have to say in this series, man, I just think that the Spurs will win this series in 7 games. I'm definitely going to say that this series goes 7. All right, because both of these teams are just. I think that I expect for both of these teams to hold home court. You know what I'm saying? This is the time. This is the round of the year. Like this round, second round, going into the rest of the playoffs. That's when, home court just means so much. Holding home court means so much. So let me know how you feel down below. It's the WC, and I'm going for right now.